Okay.
I think we'll just give it like a minute or two, see how many people else will join in, and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's get started. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this amazing, rainy, beautiful day. And honestly, in my opinion, that's perfect weather for a cozy conversation. Welcome to our second conversation in our virtual fireside series. And in this series, we have a very diverse and decorated panel of guests to enlighten us of their experiences in their respective fields. Yesterday, we had an amazing conversation with machine learning scientist Gary Huang, who told us of his experiences working as a scientist in Layer 6 AI group. Be sure to check that out if you couldn't attend the meeting on this channel as well. This streaming is also brought to you by Youth Computing, which is a youth-led nonprofit organization that aims to bring emerging technology and its various implications to our community. My name is Shreya Patel, and I will be moderating alongside Neil Patel on behalf of Youth Computing to introduce our very inspiring and special guest. Neil, take it away.
So, for those of you that don't already know, today we're going to be interviewing Mr. Said El Mejdani. He has a bachelor's degree in math and a master's degree in computer science from the University of Sherbrook, and he's also won the Prime Minister's Excellence in Teaching Award. But most importantly, he's an amazing teacher. But on behalf of Youth Computing, I would like to thank you, Mr. Said. He originally helped kickstart the Youth Computing organization back in 2016 and has mentored us ever since. Thank you so much, Mr. Said. It has been an absolute honor. So without further ado, I'd like to ask you my first question. What made you want to be a teacher in the first place, Mr. Said?
Actually, it's a good question. So to answer to that question, I just want to give you something about myself. When the family I grew up in, so my dad was a teacher. I'm number 4 of 5 siblings, and 4 of them are teachers. So I'm coming completely from a family where everybody except the youngest in my family, who is an architect, but everybody else is a teacher. So teaching in my family was something that coming from the inspiration that my dad as a teacher was giving us. So he's a great teacher, and my dream in my life is to be as good teacher as he was. So now he's a retired teacher, and for me, he was a school for all of us.
That's amazing and very inspiring. Talking about fatherly figures, who was a role model to you growing up?
In different field, I was having a lot of role model. My dad was one of them. My older brother, was also a role model. He's a mathematician. He have like 5 theorems that he made in math, in algebra field. So also I had some inspiring people who inspired me all during the way. And sometimes I will tell you that my inspiration come also from my students. They are amazing, and they are really, really giving me inspiration to continue in this field.
So, do you think where you grew up had an effect on your career? Because you're talking about where you grew up.
I think it's the start. It's when you're born, when you were raised, the value that you were raised with, and the start, the family component. It was giving me some, but it's not the everything, because when I grew up, nobody was doing computer science. Nobody. So it's not the field, the really specific field you went to, but it's all those things that you are coming with as values, and as hard work, and as respect values for everybody. So that's the kind of the things that it's very important for me.
So you just talked about how your students inspired you, but in what ways can you elaborate on that? Like in what way did they inspire you?
Okay, so let's start talking about the computer science program at Westwood. Lots of people will give me the credit for starting something like this, but to be truthful with you, the story starts with one student coming to me. His name is Raj. He came to me with one question. I want to learn C++. Could you help me? At that time, I wasn't teaching computer science at Westwood. Even having a background in computer science, I was teaching 0 course computer science related. And at that time, computer science at Westwood was InfoPro, which is Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. That's it. So when this student come and ask to have this training on C++, the only things I could do, okay, come after school, I will help you, I will bring my laptop, and we will start something. But Raj was a little chatty, and he didn't come alone. So I had like 15 students coming asking for computer science training when we didn't have any lab, when we could do any coding at Westwood. So I went to the principal and I asked her if she could, if we could have some computers or something to start. The answer I get was, we have $0 budget for that, so we could not. So we start our computer science program with those students helping to fix broken computers that were in the building. And we start with four computers, 3 desktop and 1 laptop in room 201 at Westwood. And that was all what we start with $0 budget. And that's the coding club that's become in year later, like more than 70 students doing computer science with few computers. So that's just to give you the idea. If those students weren't the one who push to learn computer science, and when we received the answer of the $0 budget to help on fixing broken computers, on doing the effort of making this going on, I don't think that's journey will start. So it's not the teacher on himself only. It's combination of effort. And those students have a lot to do with that. And for me, students at Westwood are really inspiring.
That in itself is really inspiring, Mr. Said. Thank you for sharing that. We know that there has been also a book that's written about Westwood and its computer science program. Can you please elaborate a little bit on that?
Okay, I will first I will show you the cover of the book. Could you see it?
Yeah, perfect.
So the book is An Education Crisis is a Terrible Thing to Waste. And in this book, it shows how in some ordinary situation, some teacher will take extraordinary decision and get something amazing through this extraordinary decisions. And for us in an ordinary situation was our start of our club, of our coding club. We have no computer, we have no budget, we have nothing. The easiest things to do, the ordinary decision to make was just shut it down. We don't have the things for, but we didn't do that. We take an extraordinary decision, which is work together, students and teacher, to fix computer, to start the journey, even without support, even without having the funding for doing anything. We have $0 budget. What you could do with $0 budget? And with $0 budget, we done an amazing thing. A year later, a lot of students were making products and showing the pride they are getting on doing computer science tools. And in this book, they are talking about a situation where amazing things happening in the educational field worldwide. And this book was written by professors at University of Kansas in the education department. And they were trying with some of their PhD students to collect some really neat experience around the world in the educational field when amazing things happen. And in the page number 31 in this book, they talk about the teacher who accidentally created a miracle. And I tell, it's not only the teacher. I talk to you about the students who were really the big part of this journey. And the miracle is starting from scratch, starting with nothing and building one of strongest programs. So what make University of Kansas talking about this experience in their book, it's that this experience is really becoming big and very, very inspiring when being in northern area, in remote area with no technology around, not in the big metropoles, and having a very, very strong program that you could not find similar in very expected area in New York or Silicon Valley or whatever. So that's in itself it's really extraordinary journey, and the story is related here, where those researchers try to see what's happening, what were the components who make this success possible here in northern area, where nobody expect that those amazing stories will happen.
So that's such an amazing story, Mr. Said. So you talk about an education crisis, and there's also, like, currently due to the pandemic, it has created another education crisis. So as a computer science teacher and a teacher in general, what have you done specifically to adapt to the effects of the pandemic?
Okay, so sometimes when we think the bad things happen, we see the bad component, but there is good things happening coming with it. Like, it's an experience. It's sometimes it's a challenge. It's come with a lot of what happened with this crisis. It shows us that the way we are teaching, the way we are learning, need to be kind of reviewed. We need to rethink things. So when the crisis and the pandemic happen, we try to teach remotely. When the remote was ready for not the teaching, but for the e-learning, what was missing in that component? We need to have those students who are autonomous. We didn't prepare them for that situation. We didn't prepare them to be the autonomous, successful, to be e-learning instead of trying to teach them. They need to be autonomous on their looking for the learning. They need to be autonomous, and they need to be already trained and well mastering the tools to get them the learning they need. And they need to be the drivers on these learnings. Instead of that, we try to send them videos, try to give them material, and it was throwing to them the materials and trying to reproduce the same model that in class, but just online. And there is some stuff who are not really perfectly working. So pandemics, crisis will happen. Like it or not, we need to get ready, to prepare for that. So how are we serving our students, our families, on preparing them for that kind of the situation? I think the school have a new role to do. If we get in September in class, I will have all the time in mind that part of my teaching need to be online, need to be training my students. If anything happen, they need to be to get ready. Part of this, it's need to be all the way preparation. I had to experience with remote with this experience. I was teaching at Keano College, where students are already used to take online course from NATE or from sites or from other places. So they were already trained to do this. So when we done when in the weekend it was announced that there is no class Monday, our class Monday was already ready and we didn't even miss a minute of classes, because we didn't need to prepare them for that. They were already trained for that. But in younger age, I think this work wasn't really done in these objects, and I think that's what is missing now. Whenever we are in class, we need to get a part of our duty to prepare our student to be comfortable of doing the work online or in class inside, and not to be intimidated by that.
So what have you particularly missed about teaching due to the pandemic? And like, what have you done with your students to like try and hinder that effect?
So during the pandemic, I was having like three weekly video conference with my students. We were doing some computational thinking and problem solving online, working together on solving problems. That's for me. It's not all what I hope, what I wanted to do, but when you have students not having the software and the hardware that you will love to have in home, and not want to make them struggling with the configuring everything that we have in the lab in home. So that was a compromise that we try to. We didn't want them to be stressed, but all the time. But the learning was continuing, and the best things to do in that time, it's not to work on the hardware or on the software component, was to work on the thinking. And for me, it was the problem solving will not harm anybody, and it's good to get as a skill during this pandemic. So let's just work on this and try to get them keep going with this. And that's I think it was a great. And we have students asking for more video meetings, and so it was for me. It was a wow. But the con part, I could not do it with my younger student, with my junior high, because I was allowed to do it only with high schools. And that part I miss, because those are for me the future. That's where I'm getting excited when I'm working with grade 4 to grade 6 or with the junior highs. It's make me more revigorated, because I'm seeing, if we plan to see that this time, the tree will be wonderful in high school age.
That's awesome. You spoke a little bit about problem solving. We know that you speak over 3 or 4 languages, right, Mr. Said?
Yes.
How does that affect your problem solving or decision making in real life situations or in any coding problems?
I will tell you that I will see the other side. So I'm talking with you in English. I'm having a lot of problems to speak in English, because the only English I get in my life as a schooling, I get 3 years during high school, and that's it. So for me, speaking English is a challenge. It's every day, single day challenge. It's every meeting challenge. If I was speaking in my mother language, I will need less energy to do the interview or to do. But having challenges, having problems, build you stronger. So I'm having, my Arabic is my mother language. My second language is French. So when I pass to French, I'm having a little bit higher challenge than speaking in Arabic, but it's good. It's a good challenge. When I'm speaking Spanish or English, it's getting the challenge higher for me, but it's good to build yourself. It's a learning process. When you are making yourself trained every single day to have problems and to try to go over them, and also to learn and to be humble, because I could be stuck at any moment talking to people in English. That teach me that I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. And that teach me that I need to be the learner, and they put myself in the learner and asking questions to learn about what I was stuck with. And if we don't get shy, we learn. If we still keep asking and trying to get ourselves going forward, we will learn. And that's things that I think it's languages are beautiful windows open for us a view in a whole culture. So if you speak French, you will see the French culture. If you speak Urdu, you will see. If you speak Hindi, you will see another. If you speak Gujarati, you will see another beautiful. If you speak German, you will see another part of this. And it's just seeing more beauty and more different things who could be very, very enrichment for the person. So different language means different beauty of the view. And also, let's talk about computer science. Like Neil or Shreya, you speak Java, or you speak Python, or you speak Swift, or you speak JavaScript, or you speak that give you more view, more option. You see the things from different angles. So I could learn Python and Java and still see the difference between the two languages and get more and more learning about the comparison about the two languages. That's something that the people who speak one language could not get. So you could put them together and see the different view of both languages. And imagine 3 languages, 4 languages, 5 languages, the whole beauty that you could see, would see in the whole big image, not only. And you could see, in all those languages, we have variables. So we have a concept who is crossing all the language. In all language, you could have tables, you could have something common and who is outside of the language. It's more abstract concept that could be in any language. So you learn more about the abstraction of your learning about computer science languages. So you make more abstraction when you learn different languages.
So thank you for that amazing computer science lesson. So you talked a little bit about computer science, but what made you want to pursue computer science in the first place? Like, we know that you already had a bachelor's degree in math. So what made you want to strive to take the extra step and get a master's degree in computer science?
Okay, that's a story. So I will try to keep it short because so when I was in Morocco, I get my bachelor degree in math. I get my educational degree, and I teach as a math teacher for 8 years. All during these 8 years, I was thirsty to continue my education. But the system wasn't allowing for people who are working as a teacher to get to university and continue until getting special approbation from the minister that I never get. So for myself, I went to do the immigration to Canada. And first morning coming here to Canada, I was at the university trying to register to do a master's degree. So I came here as an immigrant and I tried to get education. The problem when I tried to get a master's degree, the normal way was to do a master's degree in math because I have already the math degree. But I think instead of just continuing the same field, I was really attracted by the computer science. When I done my math degree, it was a pure math degree. No computer, no coding, no application. It was completely on fundamentals. So it's more core math and no application of this math. So for me, I was really attracted about seeing some applications of the what I learned, and computer science was really attractive. And it was coming with some challenge. So at the university, they didn't want to register me because you don't even have a bachelor degree in computer science and you want to do the master degree in computer science. It's not. Nobody done that before at that university. So they give me a challenge. Okay, you don't have any coding background. You don't have any computer science background. We are going to put you in core computer science classes and you need to get a B grade to be accepted in all the 3 classes. So I was doing the computer science with students who done, after their high school, they done the CEGEP, which is 3 years computer science and 3 years at university. That was their 6 years. So they put me in their 6 years and they tell me, okay, you need to get a good grade with that group. So I take the 3 classes. I get 2 with B and I get 1 with A+. I was the top in the class on that one. I never programmed before. I was with people who programmed for 6 years. And it's the lesson I want to give to my student. Big challenges make you stronger. Don't misestimate yourself. And I think that sometimes we could not go forward because we just stop ourselves. So,
yeah. Sorry.
No problem. Just.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to tell the members of the audience that if there are any questions that come up during this stream, feel free to add them to the chat box and we will get to them shortly. On top of that, Mr. Said, what advice would you give students who are wanting to pursue computer science but don't have a lot of experience with it?
Okay. The first thing is to not believe on what people say. A lot of people will say computer science is only for geeks. It's about languages. Everybody in every country speak the language of the country. Languages are not matter of smartness. They are only matter of practice. So if you are thinking about going forward with learning a language, tell yourself, everybody in Germany speaks German. Everybody in France speaks French. Doesn't matter how smart they are. It's not matter of, there is no obstacle for anyone who want to learn it and practice it enough and try to do it. They are going to get it. And there is no way they don't learn it. But there is some other stuff who will make it easy. Bill Gates started coding when he was 7 years old. Zuckerberg, 8 years old. The younger you get to it, the easier it is, as any languages. You know, if you want to speak English and you are started very young age, you will be native speaking English. But if your parents want to learn English at older age, they will never be native speaking English. So for computer science, it's similar. When you start learning the languages at younger age, you get the native speaking and the native comfort with speaking the language. And that's make it easier for anyone to go forward with it. So starting it today is better than waiting the next year to start it. If you are interested about it, there is lots of resources, there is lots of things. It will not be hard for motivated people to learn. And second things, it's not only for geeks in their garage, dorm room with the red eye, it's for everybody.
So, Mr. Said, let me ask you a question. You have this tremendous amount of skill. You've gotten the Prime Minister's Excellence in Teaching Award. You have a chapter about you in a book from Kansas. And you've probably won lots and lots of other awards. But please tell me, why do you choose to keep working at Westwood Community High School when you could be at other universities, teaching at colleges, universities, so on and so forth?
Okay, during the confinement, I was receiving another offer from Texas, and that I declined automatically. It doesn't take more than a minute to tell them sorry, I could not. And another advice I tell to people: do the things you love. Every single morning, I'm grateful I see the face of my student coming happy to the classroom, and I love to work with them. So I wake up happy to do my job because I like it. Probably I could get better offer somewhere else, but I think that I'm in the place I am supposed to be. I'm in the place that I'm making difference. And that for me, it's very important because when you are having, if you put yourself trying to do something that you love, you will not be counting how many hours it will take you. But if you are doing the homework that somebody asked you to do, you will count in seconds. Oh, that's too long. It took me this and this and this. It's about pleasure doing the things. If you are doing what you love, doesn't matter what time it take you, doesn't matter what effort it take you, doesn't matter what energy it take you, you will be happy to do it. And you will not be counting how much it take you.
Thank you for that amazing lesson, Mr. Said. I have another question for you. So you won the Prime Minister's Excellence in Teaching Award, but what I want to ask you is, what did you feel when you got that email saying, "Hey, you just won an award for being one of the best teachers in the country"? And what did you feel when you were behind that curtain, ready to go on stage and shake hands with the Prime Minister?
Okay, so for me, I think first when I received the phone, I was shocked. I was surprised. I wasn't expecting any of that. I think I'm doing my job and I'm in my corner with my students. I'm having fun with them. We are learning. We are doing amazing things. My students are doing amazing, and they deserve the merit. They deserve the credit. So the nomination, after I received this call, I read the nomination text. It was 37 pages of text. Believe me, I could not finish it on one shot. I cried like I have to read it in 3 shots because I start having tears in my eye, and I could not even complete it because of what students write in this. Student like Dhruv, like Vani, like student who writes something that for me my heart could not handle at once. It was really, 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 touching in the depth of the heart. And for me, it's way better than any award or anything. When you feel that you are doing difference on people's lives, and you are doing positive influence, and you are giving something positive to those young people that you are responsible for, and receiving award was for me, it's waiting for shaking hand with the Prime Minister. I wasn't believing it when I was there. You know what woke me up and prepared me for that? It's one of the students. I think he's listening right now. When I saw him at the door before getting to the room, Krish surprised me. I have the students coming and shaking hand, and okay, what is he doing here? We are in Ottawa. He was supposed to be in Fort McMurray. And they entered to the room, and I was still thinking about what was he doing there? And that's amazing. That's just connect me to the why I was there. I was there because of my students. And my students, sometimes you tell to people that they make your day. I tell to my students, you make my life. Every single day of it. And I'm so proud of my student. I receive a message from student graduating this year, sending me this message telling, I will miss your happy class with no stress and a lot of learning. And for me, I think, I must be done something good, because this student was feeling that he was learning with no stress and with the happiness. And for me, it's my goal. It's my goal that every student grew up with empathy, with the positive mindset, with the smile in the face, and a lot of learning coming with it. I think that's what I'm supposed to. That's my dream to do as a teacher.
That's incredible. Mr. Said, just shows how big your heart is, and I was honestly moved by that. Thank you for sharing that. I think we should open it up to some questions from our audience for a bit. So Drew, who you mentioned a few times already, is asking, do you see a future where we have a hybrid form of learning between e-learning and in-person learning?
That's my dream. That I think that our school need to move toward that concept. We need to make our in-class learning preparing for the e-learning. When I was talking about the e-learning, it's autonomous student way of learning. It's not e-teaching. Because right now we are trying to do some e-teaching with the system already not prepared for that concept. And also the technology wasn't made for that way. It's supposed to be an e-learning. We are supposed to prepare the material that we give to our students in class, and also with some form of e-learning, and permitting to students to go and dig further and have what they want to learn and get more through their autonomous way. And this autonomy need to be need to be trained for, because it's not coming naturally. Nobody is prepared to just go and learn by himself naturally. It's something that we need to work on. We need to prepare and we need to practice for. And the hybrid form, I think that's the solution. That's the best way to go for. Did I answer to your question?
Yeah.
So we have another question from the audience. Sean asked, has e-learning negatively affected your students' performance?
Performance is dependent on expectation. So when you are given an e-learning, like I'm going to tell you that I was doing it at university level and also at high school level. At university level, we switch the evaluation process. Instead of giving a multiple choice during an exam in class, because of the COVID pandemic, so we make case of study. So completely the exam, the final exam, was completely switched to a form who will be accepted for the e-learning, who will be more adapted to the e-learning process. Because you could not do a multiple choice questions in everybody in home with the 3-4 devices, no control over anything, and doesn't make any sense. But having everyone showing his learning through case of study, through project-based learning, or through product-based learning, I think it's more adapted. So for Sean, I will tell, no, it doesn't affect, because we build it with in mind the expectation that those students are doing something product-based learning. It will not make any change for them. It's like, oh, I'm in class, I'm getting my project that I need to do, and I could use the web, I could use every resources I could get, and that's myself showing my skills and showing my learning to my teacher. If we do it this way, and remember, it's e-learning, it's not e-teaching. That's the way that it's supposed to be. It's need to take the learner as the center of the interest, not the material. So learner need to be in the heart of the thinking process about the e-learning.
Right. I think that answers that beautifully. Well put. Also, same question, another question from Sean is, what is one of your favorite coding languages?
Okay, so I will ask the question differently. If you tell people what is the most beautiful language in the planet, like if you like English, come with Shakespeare. French, come with Victor Hugo, and with the Spanish, come with Borges, and with the, so every language have some beauty who is different than the other beauties. So for computer languages, C++ is a beautiful language, but it doesn't stop Java to be also very efficient and beautiful language. Swift too. But every language is coming. If I'm doing something related to hardware and talking to very small components in a machine, C language is the best language. It's older than all the language I talked before, but it's the most efficient, it's the fastest, and it's do the job beautifully. If I'm doing something web-based, the JavaScript and Java are very good. If I'm doing the virtual reality, C# is very, very having impactful language. So every language, if I'm doing the phone application, Swift and Java come with very, very beautiful performance. So every language will give you some different beauty. And if I have the possibility of, I will wish that every student have at least 4 or 5 different languages they could speak in computer science. Because if you are in a professional world, if you are working in a really high tech company, one language is not enough. And that's give difference. And you know the world is made with competition. So the more you have compared to competitors, the better it is for you.
So we have, sorry, go on.
It's not hard to learn. If you learn one, it's make it easier to learn others. So that's why my answer for Sean. I have a little plus for C++ because it was the language I start with. But it's not objective. It's just subjective. It's just because on my own experience, I get it that way.
Beautiful answer. I think Sean found his answer to that. But another question from Sean. He asks about how you talked about how motivation is important for your students, but how do you motivate your students when they're having an off day?
Could you please repeat the question? I could not. Remember, my English skills are not that.
So Sean asked, you previously talked about how important motivation is for your students, but how do you motivate your students, like on a personal basis, when they're having an off day?
I think if I ask my student or some of them, they will see that sometimes it's just the communication. It just, it starts with very, very basic things. When students find you welcoming at the door, when you talk to him and how is your day and everything, and you get to talk to them, when you see in their eyes that something is going good or something is going wrong, when you are looking at those signs, I think you will find a way to know when the student is needing even a little talk, even not to make more pressure on them, because that day it's enough day for them, and they think that's empathy. I talked about it before. It's a key word. The message that the student sent me on his graduation day this year during the COVID pandemic was, "I will miss your happy, stress-free, and full of learning class." And something positive is coming from this discourse. And for me, that's the most important, because some technical learning could wait. The more important is the human being that is beside me and that need support from me. And empathy is a key word. And during the study from University of Kansas, they interview students to make and they tell me that they were surprised by the 4 things coming from our program. Empathy was there. Very positive relationship between student and teacher. Second things, failure is not a problem. You could do a project, it could have some problems or stuff. Never get students under the stress, because when something gets wrong, we learn from it. It's not the end of the day. If you didn't fall, you will never run, because we were crawling, but you start learning how to walk, and there is a lot of falls, but those falls build skills. So it's not the end of the day. The third thing that was a key of success of our program was the product-based learning, the product-oriented learning. So in our classes, you could take a class on virtual reality, or you could take class on phone application, or you could take, it's very specific skills that you are targeting. And one other thing that make a huge difference in Westwood, you know who decide for the option to be taught? And they don't think that there is any other school doing it this way. When you are doing your registration process and you choose what option you want to take, that will decide what Mr. Said will teach. I never choose the class I teach. It's based on student choices. If more students want to do phone application, we'll give phone application. If more want to take virtual reality, we'll give virtual reality. It's the students are the bosses. And the system in Westwood is made that way. There is 12 different computer science options, and the one who are given are the one students choose.
That's great. I think that's an awesome way to get exactly what students need and want as well. What to you is your ideal student to teacher relationship?
I think a relationship full with positive empathy and love. I will never stop telling. I love my students. It's a fact. So it's if I'm not there because I love what I'm doing, I think that something is wrong. And when Neil asked me why you didn't take another job, even if the offers were there with higher salary and with a lot of things, it's because of the love. Because when you love what you are doing, that will make you doing it the best way. That will make you improve it and think about it. And it's like your beautiful garden that you are taking care of. So every single day you are going to think, oh, what is going to be for next year, what I could add for next year to make it more and more beneficial for my students. And believe me, that's the hardest things. That's the hardest homework I have. It's all the time thinking about the program, what to do and what to think and what to rethink to make it more successful and more beneficial to my students. And being on a cutting edge program, it's hard to keep it up all the time and all the time going forward. But I'm telling myself, somebody give me the advice, when you are teaching computer science, if you give 2 years the same things to your students, you are doing it wrong. Every single year, it needs to be changing. And sometimes, believe me, the same course from semester 1 to semester 2, there is a lot of change coming. So that's all the time, upgrading, bringing up to the program and the curriculum and adding more and more stuff to try to make it more beautiful, more beneficial, and more full of learning.
Thank you for that beautiful answer. But I have a question. You've talked a lot about, like in your previous answers, about success and some of the things that you need to achieve it, such as empathy, love, communication. But what is your definition of success? Like, how do you measure it? And is there any point in your life that you feel that you have felt that you have achieved it?
Okay, I will tell you that some experience that sometimes, as a teacher, I need to make sure that I'm doing the things right. So when you have an amazing student like Drew, who asked the first question about their learning, and they remember this, and I still have the cards that he gave me at the start. In this card, he's expressing that I never will be following anything technology related if it wasn't for you. And look now, he's very successful in the top level on computer science in the country or even around the world. And you see that sometimes you give a student who already have the potential. Believe me, if this student was thinking about mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, he would be very successful ones. But that bring him to the computer science and the mechatronic world. And inspiring students is the most important thing. I received a message a week ago from Kevin, a student I teach in Westwood a few years ago, sending me, Friday, I get my master's degree at University of Toronto. I will be starting my teaching position, and thank you for inspiring me. And that was a student that I had in Westwood. When you see, like I had a student at University of Oxford doing using her machine learning skills for curing a cancer, for pharmaceutical research. Clara, and when you see those students successful, not only in the country, but worldwide, this student choose to do the medical career. But even in the medical career, she is using the computer science skills to do way, way better things in the medical career than anybody else in this medical career. Those for me are success stories. Westwood, if we just try to put all the success stories that are happening right now at Westwood in technological field, it will fill a book or way more than one volume of book. There is a lot of them. Last year, I don't know if you know, last year we have 3 students competing at university level, 3 grade 10 students, and reaching the final with 6 different projects. 3 projects were from Westwood at university level in Calgary during the inventors. And inventors asked us this year. So Saptarshi, myself, and Nermin Zukish were asked to be in a podcast for innovation, because our school is really an image for innovation Alberta-wide. And this is just telling something different is happening. And they think this something different, it's not the teacher teaching things, it's the opening for student skills to raise up and to go forward, and the support they get to get their smartness, their amazingness recognized everywhere. And I think that's our approach. So in the next year, what it's going to be changing for our school teaching process, we are already thinking about breaking the classical lab class concept and having an innovation space concept, when the space will be an innovation space open for different kind of innovation happening in the same time. And I will not give you the news right now, but something is already going on at Westwood to have a physically an innovation space equipped and ready and flexible and open for student innovations.
Oh, that's awesome! Thank you for that surprise. We'll be waiting for it.
Okay, I will let you when the announce will be. But it's something already on the process. We use this pandemic time. We work more on doing more work on preparing the new. I will tell that the new level of making our classrooms kind of not going from the classical way of just being for teaching learning process to making stuff and having enough the space and the material and the equipment all together, put together to make the innovation happening in the place.
Awesome. We have two more last questions, and I'm going to combine them for the sake of time. So Kyle is asking, how has taking classes online affected your teaching ability? And Dhruv is asking if you've seen the difference between thought models of successful versus unsuccessful students. And if so, what were the successful thought models?
Okay. So I don't think that the pandemic affect the teaching skills, but it question more our approaches. So we need to be more thinking about how to serve better our students, thinking about this pandemic, this situation, what could be done to make our students continue to learn and happy and the positive learning, and having full of learning. I think in-class teaching is wonderful, but the situation is not really open to only one way, which is the in-class. We need to get very diversified way of teaching learning process, and the hybrid approach is, for me, I think, the solution for that. And the example, the story, the experience I have at Westwood, we have very top model successful stories, but we have other stories that are very successful with autistic students. We have the positive learning is not happening only for the academic high achiever students, it's happening for everybody. And everybody could get a level of success and making him prepare to go to the next level without trying to make one way, in concrete, trying to make everybody in a box, the same size, in the same way. It's not the way. Everybody learn differently. Some students will reach the roof, some other students will reach other planets, and all will be successful. We need to get this differentiated learning, teaching style to not force students to just think one way. Oh, this student is the successful, I'm the failure. You remember, empathy, failure is not a problem. Students need to be more used to those failures to build themselves more stronger in a positive way, not in very stressful way. And stress-free is a good way to do it. Students will learn way more better with less stress.
So it's like kind of a final question. Is there anything you'd like to tell the audience about computer science? Like, because from the questions, it does seem that there are a lot of people pursuing computer science. And could you maybe tell the audience something like a pro or a con of the profession?
Okay, so computer science is a beautiful field. We are going, and the evolution of this step of our history, of the human being history, will be more and more dependent on computer science. If you take a look on the stock market, you will see that the top 25 company, there is 17 on technology field. Technology is invading every single part of our life. With automation, machine learning, artificial intelligence, there is way more of technology skills and computer science skills for workers. It will reshape the job market. So being prepared have a lot to have with computer science skills. And I will never stop to tell my students, wherever you are taking direction. Doesn't matter if you want to do medicine, it doesn't matter if you want to do engineering, doesn't matter if you want to do social work or whatever, you are going to deal with technology, you are going to deal with computers. You need to have strong computer science skills. That will be a plus. Doesn't matter what you are doing as a job. And for the future, that will be a necessary skills. Doesn't matter where you go. And if you want to take a look, US military buying 100,000 HoloLens to soldier. Imagine the training of soldier is becoming using augmented reality. And the military, they are ahead, some steps ahead, but everybody else will follow. So how are we preparing people to feel the need in this market of augmented reality? So virtual reality, augmented reality are needed skills. They are not fun. They are not just for playing games. They are skills for making difference in the job market, in the future job market. So is the machine learning, artificial intelligence. So is the drones. So is the information security. Those are the fields where the increasing demand for jobs is going rocket exponentially. What are we doing? Are we going to continue the classical way like our parents were doing there in classes and preparing ourselves in the 20th century way? Or are we going to get ready to we are already in the 20 years of 21st century, and those skills are, I think, mandatory to have. If I have the magic sticks, I will make computer science one of the two take. Yes, we will make it diverse. We will make it open to everybody's skills, but it needs to be for everybody. Like University of Georgia Technology, they make computer science mandatory, but they have different computer science. You have music, computer science with music, you have, and everybody, doesn't matter if you are taking humanities or architecture, or you take computer science and you learn coding. That's mandatory skills. And it's very successful.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Said. We unfortunately have run out of time today, but it was amazing talking to you and gaining all this insight. And I can talk on behalf of our audience who probably feels this exact same way. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule for this conversation today. And we gained a lot of insight, honestly. And it was a pleasure to see you again. And as much as you talked about missing your students, I can say as a student that we're missing our great teachers like you as well.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Said. And I'd like to say thank you on behalf of Youth Computing for taking time out of your day to attend this meeting. So for the audience out there, we will be having another meeting. We will be having another virtual fireside conversation with Nobel Prize winner Donna Strickland. So it'll be sometime on Wednesday, but we'll put the link out to our Twitter, our Facebook, and our Instagram down below in the description. Stay tuned, and hope you guys have a good day. See ya.